You might look at this company and see a profitable diamond trading for pennies on the dollar. But if you peel back the layers, you are staring directly into a structural machine designed to silently erase your money while everything looks perfect on the surface. We need to have a very serious conversation about what is happening with Webull, ticker symbol BULL, because right now we are looking at one of the most confusing, contradictory, and potentially dangerous setups in the entire stock market. If you just look at the surface, if you just pull up the earnings report or look at a standard valuation metric, you are going to see something that looks like the opportunity of a lifetime. You are going to see a company that is growing revenue by 55% year over year. You are going to see a company that just swung from a loss to a massive $36 million profit. You will see a fintech platform that is arguably better than Robinhood, trading at a fraction of the price. Robinhood trades at something like 40 times earnings, while this stock is sitting there trading at less than 9 times earnings. It looks like a mistake. It looks like the market has fallen asleep at the wheel and left a pile of money on the table for you to pick up. But here is the problem, and it is a massive problem that most retail investors completely miss until it is too late. While the business itself, the app on your phone, the trading, the revenue, is doing incredibly well, the stock itself, the piece of paper you buy in your brokerage account, is being strangled by a financial structure that is absolutely toxic. We have two completely different stories fighting each other here. On one side, you have the strong buy thesis, which screams that this stock should be $16 or $18 a share. On the other side, you have a forensic analysis that calls this stock a trash can fire and suggests it is structurally doomed to bleed out slowly, no matter how much money the company makes. I'm going to walk you through both sides, but I want to start with the bull case because it is genuinely seductive and you need to understand why people are buying this before we talk about why they might get crushed. The argument for buying this stock right now is what we call the arbitrage of perception. Basically, everyone thinks this is just another failed SPAC. You know the type. Companies that went public in 2021, had no revenue, promised the moon, and then crashed 90%. Webull went public via a SPAC merger with SK Growth Opportunities, and the chart looks exactly like a disaster. It went from a squeeze high of nearly $80 down to the $8 range. When Wall Street algorithms see that chart, they dump it in the garbage bucket. They assume it is a cash-burning zombie. But that perception is wrong. The business has fundamentally transformed. In the third quarter of 2025, they brought in nearly $157 million. That's not a small number. And more importantly, they kept a huge chunk of it. Their expenses only went up 18%, while their revenue went up 55%. That's called operating leverage, and it is the holy grail of growth stocks. It means for every new dollar they bring in, more and more of it drops to the bottom line. They have $21 billion in customer assets. That's up 84%. This tells you something very important about their user base. Webull isn't just for kids trading with $500 anymore. They are moving up market. They are getting the prosumers, the people with $20, $50, or $100,000 who want better charts, better data, and faster execution than they can get on Robinhood. And speaking of Robinhood, the valuation gap is absurd. If Webull were valued with the same multiple as Robinhood, the stock would be triple or quadruple where it is today. You are buying $1 of earnings for 50 cents. Because the wrapper, the SPAC history, is ugly. Plus, they just relaunched crypto trading, they're expanding into Europe and Latin America, and they just got added to the Russell 2000 and 3000 indexes, which means passive funds have to buy the stock. So you look at all that and you think, okay, this is a slam dunk. I'm buying. But wait, because if everything is so perfect, why is the stock stuck at $8? Why, when they reported those amazing earnings, did the stock pop for a second and then immediately bleed back down? Why has the stock dropped 35% since listing, even though the news keeps getting better? This is where we have to put on our forensic accounting hats and look at the red flag framework, because what you find in the SEC filings is terrifying. The reason the stock price isn't going up is not because traders don't like the app. It is because of something called supply. There's a massive structural ceiling on this stock price, and it is being caused by 3 different mechanisms that are all working together to dilute shareholders. First, Let's talk about the shelf offering. In September and November of 2025, the company filed documents with the SEC, specifically Form F1 and 424B3, registering the resale of up to 147 million shares. Let's put that number in perspective. The company has about 500 million shares total. The float, which is the amount of shares that actually trade freely, is much smaller. Suddenly, you have early investors, sponsors, and insiders who have registered 147 million shares to sell. That is roughly 35% of the Class A share count. These are people who got in early. They have been waiting to cash out, and now they have the legal paperwork to dump their shares onto the market. This creates what we call an overhang. Every time the stock price tries to rally, every time it ticks up to $9 or $9.50, one of these large holders sees liquidity and sells. It's like trying to run up a hill while someone is pouring a landslide of rocks down on you. But that is just the standard selling pressure. It gets worse. We need to talk about the SEPA. This stands for Standby Equity Purchase Agreement. Webull signed a deal with a firm called Yorkville Advisors. This deal allows Webull to force Yorkville to buy up to $1 billion worth of stock over 3 years. Now, you might think, oh, that's great, they have access to capital. No, that is not how these deals usually play out for common shareholders. Here is the mechanic. When Webull needs money, they tell Yorkville to buy shares. Yorkville buys them at a discount, usually 3 to 5% below the current market price. Now, think about Yorkville's incentive. They are a hedge fund, not a long-term believer. They are buying the stock at a discount. If the stock is trading at $10, they might buy it at $9.50. Their incentive is to turn around and sell those shares immediately into the market to lock in that 50-cent profit. It creates a cycle of silent dilution. The company prints new shares, hands them to Yorkville, Yorkville sells them to you, and the supply of stock goes up. When supply goes up and demand stays the same, price goes down. And because Yorkville is getting a discount, they can sell the stock lower and lower and lower and still make money. It creates a downward pressure that doesn't care about fundamentals. It acts almost like a toxic convertible or a death spiral. And here is the mystery, the chaos twist I mentioned earlier. Webull has over $650 million in cash on its balance sheet. They're profitable. They're generating cash. So why on earth do they need a $1 billion credit line that dilutes their shareholders? A company that believes its stock is undervalued usually buys its own shares back. A company that believes its stock is overvalued, or a company that is scared of something coming in the future, sells shares. The fact that they have this facility active and are filing prospectuses to use it suggests that management is prioritizing cash hoarding over your shareholder value. They're treating their equity like a currency to be spent. This explains the sell the news behavior we've been seeing. You see, when a company has a setup like this, good news is actually bad news for the stock price in the short term. Why? Because good news brings volume. It brings retail traders like you rushing in to buy. And what do the big sellers, the people holding that 147 million share overhang, and Yorkville with their SEPA shares need to sell? They need liquidity. They need buyers. So when earnings come out and the stock pops, that isn't a breakout. That's a dinner bell for the sellers. They use your buying pressure to unload their millions of shares without crashing the price to zero. They feed the ducks while the ducks are quacking. That is why you see the stock pop 4% on a massive earnings beat and then slowly drift lower for weeks. It is distribution. And we haven't even talked about the lockup expiration. When a company goes public, the early investors are usually locked up for 180 days. They cannot sell. For Webull, that date was in October 2025. That date has passed. The gates are open. Now, to be fair to the bull case, there was a report that some insiders, specifically Mint Inc., voluntarily extended their lockup until March 2026. That's a positive signal. It means not everyone is running for the exit. But the filings clearly show that many others are preparing to sell. We've seen Form 144 filings, which are notices of proposed sales. We've seen the active updates to the registration statements. So, the float, the supply of shares available to trade, has shifted from scarcity to surplus. In the early days after the SPAC, shares were hard to find, so the price squeezed up. Now, there are hundreds of millions of shares potentially hitting the market. This brings us to the short squeeze trap. A lot of people look at a stock like this and think, oh, it's down so much, maybe it will squeeze. The forensic data says unlikely. The short interest is only about 4 or 5% of the float. That's tiny. And the cost to borrow shares to short the stock is basically zero. It's 0.40%. If a stock is hard to locate, that fee jumps to 50, 100, or 200%. A fee of less than 1% means there are plenty of shares available to lend. Shorts are not trapped. They are comfortable. They are sitting there, likely hedging against warrants or just betting on the dilution, and they are not feeling any pressure to cover. And speaking of warrants, there's another layer of resistance. There are about 17 million public warrants with a strike price of $11.50. Right now, the stock is around $8.50, so these are worthless. But if the stock ever rallies to $11.50, those warrants act like a brick wall. People will sell them, or the company will call them for redemption, which floods the market with another 17 million shares. So let's try to put this all together. You have a business that is performing like a Ferrari, but it's trapped inside a capital structure that is acting like a car crusher.
If you're a value investor, you are looking at the PE ratio of 8 and thinking this is the deal of the century. You are betting that the business growth will be so explosive that it eventually overwhelms the selling pressure. You are betting that the international expansion into Korea, Brazil, and Canada will bring in so much revenue that the market has to re-rate the stock, regardless of the dilution. You are also betting on the China discount fading away. We have to address the elephant in the room. Webull is owned in large part by Xiaomi and has roots in China. Even though the broker-dealer is US-based and regulated, there is always a fear of geopolitical tension. That is part of why it trades cheaper than Robinhood. If tensions cool, that discount could vanish and the stock could double just on sentiment. But if you are a risk-averse investor or someone who looks at market mechanics, you are looking at this and seeing a trap. You are seeing a supply trap. You see a company that is profitable, but is still printing stock like it's going out of style. You see insiders who are registering to sell, not buying on the open market. Think about that for a second. The stock is at an all-time low. The company is profitable. They have $600 million in cash. If the CEO and the directors really believed the stock was going to $18, wouldn't they be buying shares with their own money right now? The silence on that front is deafening. The only capital flow we see in the filings is out. So, how do you trade this? Or do you touch it at all? The Bull report suggests a price target of $16.50. That is a 92% upside. They argue that the lockup extension clears the runway and that the selling is just temporary friction. They say the smart money is accumulating in this $8 range. The Bear report calls it a trash can fire and says to avoid it entirely because the dilution will cap any upside. They argue that every time the stock ticks up, Yorkville or an early investor will hit the sell button, keeping the price pinned forever. Here is the synthesis, the bottom line that you need to take away. Webull is a battleground between fundamentals and flow. Fundamentals say buy, flow says sell. Usually, in the long run, fundamentals win. If they keep growing earnings at 50%, eventually the stock has to go up. But eventually can be a very long time. We could be looking at 12 to 24 months of churn, where the stock just bounces between $8 and $10 while the market digests all this extra paper. If you buy this, you are not buying a lottery ticket that is going to moon next week. You are buying a distressed asset that is going through a messy divorce with its early investors. You are stepping in to provide liquidity to the people who want out. If you are okay with that, if you have a multi-year horizon and you believe in the platform, the price is objectively cheap. The downside seems somewhat limited by the cash on hand and the profitability. It's hard for a profitable company with $600 million in cash to go to zero. There is a floor there, especially with the index buying from the Russell 3000. But do not expect a smooth ride. Do not be surprised if good news causes the stock to drop. Do not be surprised if it feels like the stock is broken for months at a time. That is the machine working. That is the SEPA and the resale shelf doing exactly what they were designed to do. The trick with these types of setups is to watch the filings. You want to see the registration statements slow down. You want to see the selling security holders finish their exiting. You want to see the company stop using the Yorkville facility. Once those things happen, once the overhang is gone, then the stock can actually react to the fundamentals. Until then, you are swimming upstream against a current of printed paper. It's a brave swim, and the prize at the top might be huge, but you need to know that the current is real and it is strong. This is one of those situations where being right about the company might still make you wrong about the stock, at least for a while. So, are you buying the diamond or are you scared of the machine? That is the question you have to answer. I'll be watching the Form 4 filings closely to see if anyone on the inside actually steps up and buys, because until they do, I'm treating this as a distribution event disguised as a growth story.